Hello and welcome everyone. Today we are interviewing Vivien Song. Vivien Song is a current student at George Washington University studying communications management and also an associate at Link Strategic Partners. Previously this summer, she was a curriculum intern with the Leon Foundation of Excellence. And we are so excited to talk to you today about leadership and the Leon Foundation of Excellence. So let's begin. My first question to you, Vivien, is could you tell us a little bit more about your personal journey and how leadership has influenced or inspired that journey?
Sure. Thank you, Katie. Thank you for your question. So my personal journey as a leader and also other people's leadership has influenced me can really be reflected on my personal advocacy journey, as I am very passionate about gender equity, about racial equity, about almost any equity issue, because equity is really about everyone, not about a certain group. We do have advocacy groups for different populations, but that is just for the segregation, the dissemination of the population purposes. But equity is really for everybody. So I am an advocate for everyone. I can proudly say that. And what I did as an advocate for many, many social issues is that I recently joined the United Nations Association in the USA chapter, because I really wanted to advocate for those humanitarian issues and the UN-US relationships, because the US administration recently defunded the UN and also the WHO. So I really want to be an advocate to try to advocate for those issues. And because of some of the pressing problems about the vaccine, about the coordination of the pandemic addressing. So we really need to think through how the World Health Organization and the UN can help United States and also other more underdeveloped countries to have a more equal distribution of the vaccine. That is why I joined the United Nations Association. And I am also a leader in more interpersonal interactions. So whenever I hear something that is not that progressive, or I think that is problematic to according to the current culture dynamic of the society, I talk to those people and in a very nice and gentle manner and say why that is not okay to say those very not nice things to a certain group of individual in the society, and how that is implicit bias and why that is problematic and how they can work on those. I'm also a leader in school and at work. We have talked a lot about thought leadership. There are many articles on LinkedIn. There are many articles on the internet. So thought leadership is really about your ideas and about how you can execute your idea into actual thoughts and actions. So when at work, I'm currently an associate. So that is the most entry level position in our company. But I do not step back when I have some ideas to share. Whenever I have some new ideas that is different from my colleagues, I share with the clients, I share with my supervisor, I share with the leadership in the company, I share with them what I think would help the client to better do their communication work, how to better service the client, and how to make the culture of our company better.
Wow, that is fabulous. I love that regardless of your position, you still own it and empower yourself and step up. That is amazing. Very cool. Okay, so you were involved in the Leon Foundation of Excellence this past summer, Could you tell us a little bit more about Leon and what encouraged you to join the program?
I would love to. So Leon is a nonprofit that focuses on education, especially in low resource settings and for underserved youth and students in high school, in elementary school, also college students, because youth is a more broad spectrum of groups of students, not just one group. And Leon's mission is to heal those intergenerational trauma. What I really like about this is really unique. Just from my quasi statistical instinct that I haven't heard about the same similar mission from other nonprofits. There are many cool, amazing, non-educational nonprofits that focus on different problems. So I think Leon is really unique in this way. And what Leon attracted me to apply and to accept this program as a curriculum intern really started when I saw the post on the micro internship on the website. I forgot about the name of the website, but it's okay. I When I looked at the post, I can really see the person who posted this is a really detail oriented person, and this person cares about those underserved students. This person, so in the first place, this person is a very good writer, so that left me a very good impression on this micro internship. And it was very clear and organized what the post the poster, the person who posted this post wanted me to do, wanted us to contribute, and what we can gain from this experience, and why this is important. So the post of that job posting really set the tone up for me to be more accepting and more welcoming for this curriculum internship in Lyon. And then when we really got into the communication and coordination phase, I think just everything is so perfect. Not every detail is flawless, but Katie, you were always there, and you have been, and you are always there for us to communicate, and you care about what we think about this experience. You incorporate our feedback to improve every detail, and you never say anything about that, oh, that is just a minor issue, that is not important, so you do not value our feedback. You never say those things. Everything matters. Every small detail we mentioned to you, you take care of it, you follow up with it, you just, there is a beginning to you, and you are kind of the person that can really be held accountable. And it's not only you that makes Leon's work amazing, it's all of the people who are supporting Leon, but you are the start because you are the first person who founded Leon, and you were the sole decision maker in the first few months, years, weeks to recruit more people. So you were the gate, you were holding the gate, and you were guarding the gate to try to what kind of people you want, what kind of personalities you want to have. So this is about Leon, and my experience in Leon as a curricular intern is I also value the experience, the interactions with my peers. So other curriculum interns, they are, we are still LinkedIn and LinkedIn friends, and just very interactive and connected on social media. So we talk a lot, we celebrate, we say happy birthday to everybody, and we have a very beautiful dream about when this pandemic is over, and when we get the chance to travel around the country or even uh, worldwide, we can meet in person. We can shoot a message that, hey, I'm in Chicago. I'm here, there at XYZ. Are you available at XYZ time? We can hang out. We can go to coffee. There are many cool places in Chicago. We had that dream when we were just chit-chatting in the breakout room. This is too much information that we were not working in the breakout room. We were just chit-chatting. So I really love this experience. I also have had a lot of thought leadership and servant leadership from my peers. And so this is a really cool experience. I think every individual should have had at least one similar experience. Not necessarily all with Leon. I don't think Leon has the capacity to serve every individual in the United States, let alone worldwide. But I think there should be more organizations like Leon that have this similar model and also have a similar, this very good operational mechanism.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Vivien. That was just really exciting to hear your experience, or what inspired you to be part of the program. So I'm curious now, you mentioned how you think everyone should be able to go through an experience like this. What was it in particular, and was there a particular moment in the program that really had an impact on you, and would be why you encourage other students to go through a similar program?
That is a very good question. So first, there were many moments so it's almost a multi-level moment thing that, there were first a few small things that I felt the host of that posting is a really good person, and then it were those very big moments for me at Liam that made me think this is almost the best ever experience I have during this pandemic. So we were in quarantine and it was very stressful. But Leon is like a light, like shed the light on me from almost a heaven-like place, because that was just a so stressful moment. And I'm actually relatively new to the United States. I'm from China, so there is still like a strange and foreign country for me until now. When I was my biggest moment at Leon is actually the first session when we were talking about trauma, and we were encouraged to share our traumatic experiences. And I was sharing an attempted sexual assault when I was still a child, and everyone was so supportive. They make me think that I'm heard. They made me think that my experience is valid. And I especially remember Taylor. So I shared, everyone was a little bit shy. They didn't know what the culture was. So they would like to wait until someone shared the experience and to open a door, and then they would figure out how they can share their experience, how much information they can give. But I was sharing my experience in a very candid, straightforward, and just very open way. I shared every detail I have about this very uncomfortable experience. And in many places, you do not want to share your sexual assault experience with everybody, everywhere, at any time, because sometimes you do not want to make that moment about you. But at Liam, the experience is about everybody. So I feel safe to share. Then I open the door for everyone. I take the credit. And then Taylor and Marla's, they all shared about their really personal experiences. And I was really impressed and just moved by their courage to share. They also appreciate my courage. And after that session, many people reach out to me and say, oh, probably I should reach out to you faster and quicker earlier. But I really wanted to say, I really appreciate your vulnerability. I really appreciate your courage to share about your experiences. That is what you share that encouraged us to share about our experiences, because we were so used to the concept that you have to put yourself together. You cannot cry in front of people. You cannot share your vulnerable experience with people, or people will think you're weak. People will think you're a victim. That is not the case in Lyon. In Lyon, we say that we share experiences, we find out the problems, and we validate other people's experiences. We offer generously our compassion to other people, and then we try to heal that intergenerational trauma. And it's not only about intergenerational trauma. I think any traumatic experience, the sharing is welcome. But of course, I hope that nobody has traumatic experience. But in fact, let's just try to face the reality that it's not true. Almost everybody has a certain level of traumatic experience, no matter how big or small. You can just you are climbing up the stairs and you fell to the ground and other people laugh at you. That can be traumatic. It can be traumatic for that person. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be it's some violence or it's assault. So it can be small, but it's valid for that person. In Lyon, I feel that way, and it was really the way it is. So I really like that experience, and that moment really has a almost shaping effect on my life journey.
Wow. That is amazing. And thank you so much for being courageous, even in this format, and sharing more about your journey in Lyon, but also in your life as well. So, would you do it again? Would you join Lyon again if you had the opportunity?
Absolutely. I think I really want to be engaged and involved with Lyon. Anything. So what if it resumes in person? I would love to join you in person if I get the chance. And I would always love to be involved virtually, even when I'm in another time zone. I'm now in the United States, but if I come back to China, I would still love to be involved with Leon. I would love to introduce my friends who can speak English, because English is still the primary language that we are operating in Leon. And I would even love to expand Leon to be a more multinational, multilingual organization. That I think Chinese students should have this experience. We are really having a very difficult time trying to validating our experience and talking about those uncomfortable things. I when I was a child, when I was going to cry, my dad just was not a very good model for dealing with my crying. I feel very uncomfortable when my dad treated me that way. He's a good dad, but this thing I think he should be working on. It's not on me. It's not my problem. It's his problem, because everybody cries. The fact that he never cries is not because it's not good. I think people should be allowed to cry. And I was a child. I was 3. Statistically, children cry more than adults, right? So it's normal for me to cry. So I think Lyon should be more expensive and be more so expanding to other places and involve more people from different culture backgrounds, and be the first organization that say you can cry with me in Lyon.
I love that. That is very, very cool. Thank you for sharing. And when you're talking about your father, that really draws on the work we were doing in terms of healing that intergenerational trauma and those patterns and everything. And so thank you for sharing that as well. And so now, if you were to run the program, I already see a little bit of your vision expanding, going internationally, working in other languages. But what other things would you change or improve within Leon?
I think the program is almost flawless. Just at first sight, I cannot think of something about the content of the program that I want to make changes, but I do think the timeline should be longer. For example, we were talking in 1 week or 2 week. Help me
1 week.
remember. Yeah, we were being programmed in the 1 week time frame, and we were programming every day almost from 9 to 5. So it was a lot of, just from a public health perspective, it was a lot of sedentary behavior. Like we were sitting all day, we were looking at the screen all day long, we were talking all the time, and do things in a very timely and urgent manner. So that was a bit intense. If I would think it would be better for me if it can be weekly or twice a week until we finish the program, the content. But it might be more convenient for you to receive that feedback, because I think, yeah, it's the reality that it's better if you keep the timeline a bit short. But what is perfect, just regardless of other factors, what is perfect for this program, just from my perspective, would be that I wish it would last longer but less intense, like several days a week or weekly or even monthly. Then I have a group that I can check in to every month, every week, and I can talk to them. And then it allows me time to grow, because after trying to heal the intergenerational trauma at Leo, we should also have the time to reflect on the experience and do other things in life and see how the impact from Leon on us can shape the behavior and the pattern that we do other things. So it should allow us more time to have that real world experience, and then come back to Leon and say, oh, we did this a week ago, and after a week now I feel I'm a different person. So that would be amazing. But it's just me. I understand that sometimes it's not the reality, but it really would make that experience more perfect for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that feedback. That really is inspiring and encouraging to hear. And I I love how in-depth you've thought about the experience of the program and what would allow you to continue that growth beyond Leon, or maybe throughout the week as well. So moving beyond the program itself, I would love to understand more about leadership. So when you were in the program, we kind of joked about Vivien for president because you were so articulate and so courageous and so strong and really a leader within the group. And so can you tell us more about what leadership means to you and why it's important, especially as young people?
That is a very important question, because we were talking about leaders all the time. But leader is different than managers. Leader is different than public officials. Leader is even different than the president. Not every president has leadership. So that's a very important question, to not to label leaders very narrowly, but at least try to define and understand what a leader is. So thank you for your question. That is the first thing. the second is a leader should be courageous. So it's very hard for a person in a group to try to do things in a different way the first time. When you see an opportunity, it's always the leader who take the first step, and then the second adopter, the follower, should also be courageous to follow the leader. And then it's almost like the development process of the virus, that it's just more and more people follow this person, and then you get a mission down, you get a project. So being a leader, that's the first thing. I think you should have the courage. Second thing of being a leader is you should have great ideas. So that is thought leadership. So your ideas should be really inspiring to people. It doesn't necessarily to be new, but just be creative in your own context. For example, I think there were I read about a news about an entrepreneur in India. So many students, many children in more less developed countries and also developed countries. So they really die from the lack of hand washing. They can prevent how much X% of child death just from hand washing over 20 seconds. But a lot of children, they don't want to wash their hands for 20 seconds. It's very hard for them. They just want to scrub, and then they wash their hands, they flush. So it's just that they maybe can do it in 5 seconds. But that entrepreneur, instead of doing a program to encourage students to wash their hands for 20 seconds, to do a communication program, that entrepreneur created and invented a soap that is called soap pen. Soap pen is a soap in a pen shape, and you can really write with that pen. So you can write and then you wash your hands with the soap pen. If the soap pen is dry, it is not you always, so we always have sweat on the surface of our skin. That is a fact. It's just it's not too much, so you cannot feel it. So when you are holding the soap pen, there is always some kind of soap that goes into your hand, but it's not poisonous. It's not like if you eat something with the soap pen, you will get poisoned. It's not that. It's really harmless for children. And so when you wash your hands, you can grab the soap pen. So you may still wash your hands for 5 seconds, but because you are writing with the soap pen for so long time, so the exposure to your hands from the soap pen is really a lot than the time that you spend washing hands. So that is a creative way that decreased the death rate of children from those hand washing preventable diseases from X% to Y%. I do not remember the exact number, but it was quite significant. So that's a leader, that's an entrepreneur, and that's also a leader. She has good thoughts, she has good ideas, and she also has a very good intention, which leads to the third point I think a leader should have is that you care and you have a very good, nice intention that drives you through this process. Because you can be excellent, accomplished, successful people, but your goal can be to make more money. It's not wrong to want to make more money because money gives us freedom to get the resources that we want. So money is very important because it's the currency for everybody to exchange things. It's not wrong to make more money. But what I think is really amazing and nice about people is they care about the human beings as a whole. That's why they try to design and do something to improve a certain more vulnerable individual group, in the society. So a leader should care about the people. That is what a leader means. Otherwise, you're just a manager or CEO. You're not a leader in that sense. So if you are a leader, you should care about things. Then you lead a certain group of people to do something to improve something in the society. It doesn't have to be big. You can just organize your family to do a spring cleaning to improve your health in the household. You can demonstrate your leadership skills in that experience. It doesn't have to be, I changed the world, I changed the country. Gandhi is a leader. Your mom can also be a leader. So that's the definition from me about leader.
Wonderful, thank you. So courage, great ideas, and caring about others, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Summarize it pretty well.
Okay, good.
You're a leader. Those good organization and summarize ability.
Thanks, Vivien. So for high school students and college students who want to become a leader, what are small things that they can do in their everyday life to begin that journey? And how do they know when they've become a leader, or is there a point in time when you can now define yourself in a solid way that you are a leader?
So I want to answer the second question first. I don't think there is a point of time that you can check the box, or you can check the box and tap the switch on, I'm a leader, switch off, I'm not a leader. For me, there is not a time for that. It's almost like a progress bar that, oh, now you're 20%, now you're 30%. You can evaluate that whether you are more of a leader or less of a leader at this point of time. But it's not really no switch that is 0, 1, 0, 1 like a computer language, but it's really the progress bar for me. Who is more, and it's almost impossible to try to identify if Churchill has more leadership than Mandela. It's almost impossible because they have leadership in different ways and different personalities. They can both be 80% progressive leaders in my progress bar, but it's really hard to identify, to evaluate it. It's really subjective. It's not objective at all. There are some objects that you can use to evaluate your leadership and think through. So for high school and college students, so first you need to know there's no switch on, switch off, mode switch for you to be a leader or not be a leader. You cannot make a list of the students in your community that, Katie, Vivien, Taylor are leaders, and Rose, Lily, Mary, they're not leaders. There shouldn't be a list, and they're just impossible to make a list of that. But you can always be leaders, and you can be a leader today if that is your expertise field, and just today you are a leader and tomorrow you don't want to be a leader, you just want to be a follower, and there is no very clear distinguished moment between you are a leader or you are a follower. And being a follower is also very important. We talk about being leaders all the time, but we never talk about being followers. Not everybody has to be a leader. You can be a very, very good follower. And I really value the point that being a good follower is very important. And being a good follower helps you to be a better leader. Being a leader also helps you to be a better follower. And not everybody has to struggle to be, oh, I'm just a follower, I'm not a leader, so I feel bad about myself. You shouldn't. You are a follower. You should be proud of yourself, because leadership is not, because we always refer to those very high position global leaders as leaders. So we associate the word leader with those good things, like you have a big houses, you have high income, you boss around people, you have the authority, people listen to you. We associate all those things with leadership, and then we have a very harmful narrative almost in any society, any country, that you have to work very hard to have money, to have authority, to boss around people, to manipulate people using your money. Then you are successful, then you are valued as a family member. So these very subjective and just one way narrative making talking about being a follower very hard but being a leader is also very hard, and you have a lot of things to do. For high school students and college students, some small things you might want to try to be leaders. So first, I think family is your first community. So in your family, if you identify and spot something that you think needs change, no matter is the light bulb in your household that needs to be exchanged, no matter is there something that you think needs to be fixed in your household, or is the ideas and ideology perspectives from your parents that you think is not updated, up to date with what you perceive to be a person in the society, you should talk to them. You should tell your parents, oh, this is something I don't like in the household. There is something that needs to be fixed. And there is something that you say is not. So we talk about being assertive. You don't have to be aggressive. So this is something you said that I don't like. You need to change by doing X, Y, Z. So I would be happier in X, Y, Z way. So this is the first thing that you can be a leader in your house, in your family. And second, in school, you can join a student organization, you can join a community group, you can be a leader, you can run for those positions. Even if you don't run, you can voice your opinion in the group when you have those discussions. So when you are discussing something, no matter formal or informal, no matter if you are holding a student union meetings, so you should raise your hand, voice your opinion, no matter it's informal, a classroom discussion. I know it's very hard, and sometimes I still get silenced. When other people are talking, I still to doubt myself if my idea is helpful, if my idea is silly. So I just step back, not voice my opinion. That's something we all need to work on, to not to be silenced. Even if people talk over you, when you're talking, they start talking, and their voice, because I know some people are more intimidating than others. So if you feel intimidated, you wait until this person finishes and you voice your opinion again. You have the courage to say, I would feel better if you do not talk over me. This courage, we are so afraid that it might cause some confrontation. But a lot of times from people's anecdotal experience and the stories that they share, most of the time it creates respect, that they respect you more and they do not talk over you next time. So, and you can also do other bigger things like join a local professional or nonprofit organization as a volunteer, as a member, and try to find the thing that you're passionate about. Everybody is passionate about something. You can be a couch potato, but then you're passionate about TV shows. So you can find an organization that does something about it. Yesterday, I was Googling about light pollution because the building against my window windows, they have excessive lights at night. So, and there were nobody in there working or doing something at night, but they just keep the lights on, excessive lights, not just a little bit LED lights. So I was Googling and I find an organization that is called Darker Sky something. And so now I'm thinking joining the organization to try to advocate for less light pollution and environmental friendly lighting code in the city, because I am disturbed by that factor that the light is giving me sleep disorders. So that is something. You can always find some small things that you are passionate about. Join an organization, try to be a member, try to be engaged, learn those skills: public speaking, writing, coding, and developing something. Try to creating something from scratch. You can go to meetings, you can speak with people and speak to people, you can go to meetings and share your ideas, all those kind of things. And when you are submitting your college education, trying to find not only colleges that has prestige, you also find those colleges that are purpose driven, that have good values, that align with your own, and find those places where you can find a chapter of an organization that you are passionate about to very easily join them with along with your education in the college when you graduate. So this is a pipeline for you when you are graduating, and try to find something to do. Try to find a company or organization that aligns with your value, that you can make a change. It's hard to make a change. And even if that the value of that company, everything aligns with your value, it still can be hard to make a change, because there is a risk for making a change. And there is a lot of comfort for just staying the same. So when you're making a change, don't get discouraged. Everybody gets discouraged. Everybody gets rejected. Everybody has the moments when they feel their opinions are not valued. Everybody has the moment when someone you think are very close do not know your name. But don't get discouraged. It's not on you. Even if it's on you, you can still make some mistakes and try to ask people, can you give some feedback to me? Is this a mistake? Can I do this one more time? Maybe not everybody will answer very candidly about if this is a mistake, because we are always trying to be very polite. But if you ask 10 people, I think maybe one person will be candid, and that's enough.
That was wonderful. And I love the discussion about feedback. That is such a big learning tool. And also talking about the small things. So even just advocating for the light bulb to be changed in your family's home, or having crucial conversations that are also respectful and also assertive with family members, not aggressive, but assertive, saying, here's what I need, right? Those are all really, really great points. So now I'm curious, the world's becoming more global. You yourself are from China, and yet we've met here virtually in the US. And so what if a student wants to become an international leader or a leader on a global scale in some capacity? Do you have any additional recommendations, maybe cultural recommendations in that regard?
That is very important because the world is more connected. I tuned in to some United Nations meetings, and I really see why women's lives in Afghanistan can have an impact on women in the United States, because we always feel we have that privilege. We have that bias that, oh, that's their business, that cannot have an impact on me. I go to work, I'm an accomplished professional, when women in Afghanistan do not have access to job opportunities. That's not true. We are connected. No matter you're privileged, no matter you are a group with privileges, no matter you are oppressed. We are all connected. Even if you are a white, cisgender, straight, white man who make six figures of US dollars every year, you still have your own vulnerabilities and the world is still connected with you. So that's the primer of the conversation about the more interconnected world and how you can be an international leader. So I think students who want to become international leaders first, that is very ambitious, and I'm really proud of you that you want to be international leaders. That is very hard. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of training skills for you to become that, or even thinking about becoming that. So first, the language skill is a very important factor because we have so many languages. If you want to go to a country, become international leader with a country in Africa, then you have more challenges because there are so many languages, and it's not yet very universal in a country in Africa to try to have a very common language that everybody speaks in that country. So that gives you a lot more challenge. So first I would say do some research about the place that you want to make a change on, and the places, because international is really about many nations. And then try to find what language do they speak. This is really a kickoff point, that you have the language skills, then you can talk to people, then you can figure out the culture. I cannot figure out the culture in the United States as just by watching American TV shows. TV show is a good point for understanding of the culture, but it's really pseudo. People in TV shows, they do crazy things. I'm currently watching Parks and Recreation. There are crazy things in the TV show I would never see on the streets in real life in the United States. But people who have not been to the United States, and because American TV shows are so popular, so people who have not been to the United States really perceive the United States society and people by American TV shows. So they think, oh, everybody's crazy in America. Everybody talks about sex all the time in America. Everybody has sex in the library in public in America. So that is the perception from my peers who have not been to the United States. So really have the language skills and perceive the culture and know the culture a bit by watching their TV shows, but then really go to that place to try to figure out how people behave, what are the places that people go to have meetings, how people talk to each other. Are they more assertive? Are they more gentle and holding back? Are they high context or low context? How they interact with people? Is that patriarchal? Is that matriarchal? Do people value different opinions? And really try to figure out what they need first and how you can better reach your population. This is what we say about community engagement, that first you need to research and study on the community and see how your message can better get through to this community. That is the first step. And second, it takes a lot. You leave your friends behind in your home country, you leave your family members in your home country, and then you alone or with a group of other alone individuals, but you are really being alone together in this group to be international leaders. You are in this together, but you are alone psychologically because you need to give up a lot of connections in your home country to be international leaders, even for a temporary time. So that's a lot, and not everybody can take it. But I'm not shaming you for not being able to leave those connections behind and then just be very courageous and be a superman or superwoman to take that international leadership role if you cannot make it. So first, I think give it a little bit of trial. Like Netflix gives you 1 month free trial, you can also give yourself a free trial. You can try to had to have a summer volunteer program in another country internationally to give it a try for 2 weeks, for 1 month. And if you cannot take it, then don't. But if you feel that is more exciting than connecting with your old connections, you are more willing to make those new connections in a new country where you might not know how to make connections, then if you feel that's this thing, I'd say go for it. Because those people who want international leadership, they do not want people who do not want to work with them. They do not want people who do not want to be international leaders. And third is, international leader is not only a very good and big word for you to look good on your resume, or can be able to tell those very nice stories about how great you are. It's really about serving and solving problems. There are many things in less developed, less industrial countries in Asia and Africa that are better in the United States. There are also things that they are not doing that good in those countries compared to the United States and to more industrial Western countries. So you cannot have the perception and have the bias, oh, I'm going there to save people, I'm a savior. They know nothing. They are just miserable. They do not have running water. They do not have XYZ. But really clear your mind a little bit and try to rely on the research and the fact and the statistics that, oh, what is something that they have not done better than us, but we have the resources and the expertise to help them. Like, oh, 80% women in Afghanistan do not have free access to job opportunities. So what can I do? It's not about Afghanistan. It's not about those ideologies that we currently are politicizing those issues, but it's just a fact. So how can I do? What is the cultural dynamic there? What is the thing that they are doing better than us? What is the thing? So is there any logic behind this? Are they keeping women at home for other purposes? Because we have those stories, we have those phases of history that women are kept at home for the economy because they are doing some work at home, they are producing some products, so the family can sell them. So if that is the reason, how can you solve the problem? How can you solve the problem in a way that address their issues and also solve the problem? So being international is to really not to be biased that, oh, I'm this person, I'm so good, I'm from the United States, I'm the most powerful country in the world, and I'm going to save them. I'm going to save them in a very significant way. And I'm going to change their life in any way I can. I'm going to educate them to eat steak, to eat burgers, rather than their own cultural food, because that is more manageable. I can do portion control. I'm going to educate them to use I need to use the shower in our what I'm used to, but not in their own way. So really be respectful and be a community leader first when you are being an international leader, because an international leader is a person who lives its home country and to be a community leader in a new country.
Great, thank you. So what advice would you give your high school self?
Can you say that again?
What advice would you give to your high school age self, looking back in the
Oh, that is a good one. I would need to think about it for 30 seconds and give a very short answer. I would say to myself, do more diverse things rather than studying all the time, because that really restrained my ability to do a lot of things later in college and in work, because study all the time is what I'm told to do even until now. But in high school, you are having a life. You do not only have a life after you retire, you have a life now, and you have to live it. So you cannot study all the time. You should do other things. You should hang out with friends. You should go out. You should do volunteering. You should find your passion. Don't study all the time, but that can be hard for students everywhere. I would say students are very much beat up in every country that are trying to get those very high standardized score and to submit a college application. Even if they are volunteering, many students volunteer for putting that thing on the resume and looking very good in the college application process. So volunteer with your passion. Don't volunteer with big organizations that do not align with your values. You volunteer with your passion on, and then you share those stories with authenticity and candidness. You do all kinds of things that you are interested in. You do not play basketball because that's what people expect you to do to get a college scholarship, but you play basketball because you like basketball. If you do not like basketball, try other things. Try football, try soccer, try swimming, but find your passion. And it doesn't even have to be athletics. You can do other things. You can do art, you can do wood crafting, you can do those engineering projects, you can do all kinds of things, as long as it does not impact other people's lives in a bad way. Then it's solely your choice to find your passion, to do the things that you want, not what people expect you to be, because life is short. Even if you are successful, so what? We are all going to die. But live your life. Really, to live your life is really, really important. So I would say that to the high school students, because many high school students told me, oh, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. I'm going to be very successful. I'm going to be X, Y, Z. And I will be happy at that time, even if I do not like what I'm doing now. But really focus on your feelings, work on them, and see why you do not like this. Is that you haven't got into that yet? And if you spend more time with the work you're doing, you will like it. Or you just will never like it. So don't betray the current self for a better future self. If you're betraying yourself now, it's almost the case that you're going to betray yourself in the future. You're not going to have a better future self that you like, but a self that you hate and regret, and then you're trying to change it. Why not change it now as a high school student? You still have much more possibilities than people who are older.
So wise. Thank you. Okay, so favorite food.
What? Repeat that again. I didn't catch that.
What is your favorite food?
My favorite food. I really like pig hens. So I use a instant pot and use a lot of Chinese sauce to cook pig hens. It's really good. The reason is, so pigs use hands and feet to, that is almost the only thing that pigs use to exercise. So it has a lot more muscles rather than fat, and it's just really good. I know it's a strange thing for Americans to try, but I really like it. And there are not many many grocery stores that sell pig hands or pig feet. But you can get that from the Chinese grocery store.
And what is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie, Titanic. I watch that every year. Just see how people panic and abandon each other, and why your fortune, your social status, it matters and it doesn't matter. Even if the people in the first class can go to those boats earlier, you're still gonna die.
Okay, and who is your role model?
Vicky Wen. She is a 15 times Emmy Award winning Vietnamese American journalist. So she came to the United States as a refugee. When she was only 8 months old, they escaped Vietnam to America, and they were not thinking about America at that time, but they just fled their country on a night, and they were floating on the ocean for 2 days and 2 nights, and they were attacked by a Thai pirate. And then they landed on a coast in Malaysia, and they spent 14 months in a refugee camp, and then they were sponsored by a US family. But now she's a NBC news reporter. She is excellent. You should, I'm going to put that in the chat box, and you should check her out. She is very charismatic, and she knows a lot of things. She knows what she's doing. She is a very skilled news reporter and just a really nice person. She's my role model and almost my idol. So I try to connect her on LinkedIn. Can you guess what happens?
What happened?
So she accepted my invitation to connect. It was almost surprising to me. So one day I woke up and I opened my phone and checked my messages and see Vicky Wen accepted my invitation. Wow.
That is so awesome. That is really, really cool.
Yeah.
I love it when people we aspire to be and respect because of their nature and their kindness, are then willing to reach out and help us as well. So speaking of LinkedIn, we often put a lot of things on there because it's a virtual resume. What is not on your LinkedIn profile? Like a talent or something special about you that's not on there?
Did I put singing on LinkedIn? I don't think so. I can sing and I can play the piano and also the electronic keyboard. I love playing badminton and I'm good at it. I was good at it, but badminton is all about practice. So now I'm a little bit raw hands, but I can be good at it if I start practicing more. What are other things about me? Yeah, that's probably all of it. Singing, badminton.
That's fun. I would love to hear you play sometime. Okay, so what is one thing that society needs to do better?
I think the government should be smaller. Like, I don't think they should have all the authority because, you see, government is just like a normal company or organization. So it really shouldn't have all the authority to regulate the society. They shouldn't have the authority that, if I do not do X, Y, Z, then the government can punish me in X, Y, Z way. So the mass incarceration of African American men is a very good example in the United States. It's the rate of incarceration of African Americans and just the overall rate of incarceration is significantly higher in the United States than other industrial, let alone other countries in the world. It's almost, I think it's 7 times higher than Sweden. And I also looked up the statistics in China. It's almost, I think, 12 or 10 times than the incarceration rate in China. So it's not about the number of people, it's about rate, like percentage. So that's, I don't even know. So I know why it happens, but I don't know why people allow it to happen. So I think the law enforcement and the policy makers, so those public administration fields should be smaller. There should be some regulations, some common sense, common ground for all human beings and all citizens to try to obey, so we can have a very good social order. But it shouldn't be that big. It shouldn't be that I have that so much authority. You should have some authority, because like companies, they also have authority. They can solve many problems. They can make a change. They can regulate their employees and their partners and stakeholders and also shareholders. But you shouldn't have all the authority to try to have your hands in every field in the society.
All right, and last question. What is next for Vivien Song? What is your path? What is your next move? What are you looking forward to?
Next, I am graduating next year, so I'm going to find a job. Yay! To be honest, I really want to pay my rent, and I really have to have something that can support me while I am finding my passion and the thing that I'm interested in and want to do. Now I only know the issue I care about and the people I care about, especially when they are related to my own lived experience. But right now, I do not have a very clear pathway for me ahead to tell me that, oh, if you are passionate about gender equity, you should work for this XYZ organization or XYZ company to help people. I'm still trying to figure out, but at the same time, while I'm trying to figure out, it's a reality that, oh, I need to pay my rent, I need to buy food in order to survive and try to find those things. So it's not people do not admit those things that, oh, I'm trying to find a job just to pay my rent. But I'm not ashamed to admit that, oh, I just want to pay my rent. And I think everybody should be allowed to say those things. Oh, I want this job because I want to pay my rent, and it's not that I do not care about other things, but I need to pay my rent in order for me to try to figure out a way for me to, at the same time, be able to pay my rent and do things that are good for me, for other people, and for the society, the globe, the universe.
Yeah, it's recognizing that even if we want to do amazing things, we also have basic needs and need to do the things to meet those basic needs. And we're all human, right?
Yeah, sometimes you got to compromise.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Vivien, it has been such a pleasure. You really are amazing. And I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. You're amazing too.